It's lit the way on airport landing strips and emergencies, operating rooms in World War II, and even helped guide archaeologists into the deepest caves. The classic Coleman lantern has been a part of many incredible journeys.
Coleman lantern was always there. It was the sunshine of the night for us then. I'm still able to have that lantern today, so it's great memories of my youth.
I have lots of fond memories of camping with my family and being at the lake and using Coleman stoves and lanterns. And my dad still has the Coleman lantern that we used, 30 years ago.
Lantern collectors clubs have sprung up all over the world, where people gather for what they call light-ups.
We just had one 2 years ago here in Wichita where we basically did a 42-foot tall, 21-foot wide replica of a Coleman lantern, and it was outlined in lanterns, the oldest one being a 1914 arc lamp.
The Coleman lantern was born out of necessity in the late 1890s, when a school teacher and typewriter salesman named W.C. Coleman was trying to read one night.
He loved to read, but he had poor eyesight. He was sitting in his hotel room reading one evening and saw this bright light coming from an apothecary store across the street. He was so amazed by it, he went over and looked at the light and saw that it was a pressure-fed lamp. It had a bright glow and used a mantle to achieve that light.
That was called the Irby Gillian lamp. It made such an impression on Coleman, he hit the road to Tennessee where the lamp was made.
So he journeyed to Tennessee, met with the Irby Gillian Company, bought all the lamps he could, and he ventured out trying to sell lanterns.
Even though electricity was spreading across the country, Coleman had faith in the lamp. In fact, he bought the company, moved it to Wichita, Kansas, and it became the Coleman Lamp Company. W.C. was very hands-on with his lanterns, improving and refining them. And in 1914, he introduced the arc lantern. It helped farmers and tradespeople extend their working days.
Lanterns, you got to understand, at this point in time, were more of a tool or utilitarian use versus recreational use.
Then, during World War II, Coleman made a lantern for the U.S. Army.
They did a lot to light the camps that provided light for operations and operating rooms. And there were many, many uses for the Coleman lantern during World War II. At that point in time, there were no generators, no power or whatever.
After the war, Coleman's recreational business exploded as Americans started enjoying their own national parks. Today, they still make the classic two-mantle lantern here in Wichita, Kansas, where it all began in 1901.
We can produce 1,500 lanterns a day in an 8-hour shift. It starts with coiled steel, where it's going to be stamped.
The steel is stamped into discs. Some will form the base of the lantern, and others the fuel tank, or what is called the fount. Then, on a ram press, the discs get stamped into shape. Holes are cut into the founts where the pump and valve will go. The pump barrel is inserted along with an air stem wire, which will keep the air separate from the fuel. The bottoms are crimped to the fuel tanks on this turntable, and then they head to the furnace where they'll be joined permanently.
We put copper rings anywhere where there'll be a seal or a metal-to-metal contact. We'll put either a ring or a paste that is 85% copper.
The founts pass through a curtain of fire on their way to the furnace.
It's about 2,100 degrees hot. It has no oxygen in there, so that what happens is it goes in and heats up to red hot, and that copper then just flows into those different joints.
The most important part of the lantern is the mantle, the source of the light. When we come back, how 100-year-old technology has stood the test of time.